At last, you've equipped yourself properly, learned the necessary skills from your warrior elders, and gathered a mighty band of Horde warriors. You were eager to venture into Ragefire Chasm and rip the Searing Blade cancer from beneath your beloved capital city. The entrance to the chasm is found in the Cleft of Shadow, within sight of Niru's dwelling. The entrance itself a foreboding sight, like a demonic maw gnashing into Orgrimmar. You share the quests you've been given with your fellow warriors, so they may assist in your journey and profit equally from their valiant acts. Immediately upon entering the chasm, you're met with a variety of underworld creatures, snakes and earthen elementals, and these foes do not fall easily. They are much more resilient than any creatures you have faced so far. Very prudent of you, then, to have recruited allies to assist you in your endeavors here. The chasm is a hostile environment, passageways and caverns carved out of jagged rock. Many of the pathways surrounded by boiling magma. The atmosphere is dark, hot, and acrid. The only lighting the glow of the swirling magma pools around you. You do not have to venture very far into the caves before you sight the Trogg creatures in the distance that the Tauren and Thunderbluff requested you dispose of. Hunched, off-putting little creatures. They have thick gray hides and tufts of fire-red fur. They carry crude tools and communicate only in strange, guttural yells. On approach, they are immediately hostile. No wonder the Tauren emissary was not able to reason with these primitive creatures. You strike at the Troggs, careful to not become overwhelmed by the sheer number of them lurking within the chasm. As your warrior trainer showed, you attack the creatures strategically, weakening their armor and drawing their ire, allowing your allies to strike them down from more vulnerable angles. You cut your way through dozens of Troggs, sure to exterminate any of the filthy creatures you come across. Striking each one down leads you down a narrow path along a lake of magma. As the path slopes upward, you find yourself at the mouth of a small alcove, and within, a disappointing sight. A Tauren corpse lies splayed out in the middle of the room, the corpse beaten and bruised by blunt instruments. This is undoubtedly Mar Grimtotem, whom Magatha Grimtotem sent to reason with these mindless beasts. The Troggs haven't disturbed any of the armor or goods this Tauren had. They seem to have simply lashed out at anything not resembling their own disgusting race. Searching the body for anything of significance, you find a satchel still gripped tightly in his arms. You pry the satchel from the corpse and place it within your own bag. Hopefully this can provide at least some closure to the Grimtotem and Thunderbluff. With this passage fully explored, you head back towards the central chamber you turned from, and continue deeper into Ragefire Chasm. Crossing another large bridge, you enter a room filled with earthen elementals. Unfortunately, the creatures are hostile, and you are forced to dispatch them, perhaps driven mad by the Troggs' intrusion here, or the Searing Blade's nefarious activities. The shaman of the Horde would no doubt appreciate you putting the tortured elements out of their misery. As you enter the largest portion of the chasm so far, you find yourself in a huge cavern consisting of several platforms and paths carved from the earth. The cavern crawling with the Searing Blade loyalists, who seem to infest every facet of this maze-like cavern. Standing at the center of the cavern, an enemy you will be very satisfied to vanquish. A lumbering Felguard stands overlooking all of the cultist activity in this room. No doubt Taragaman, the demon Niru, has been taunting the Horde's warriors with, sending well-meaning adventurers to their doom within Ragefire Chasm in a twisted game to test the Searing Blade's forces and slaughter those loyal to Thrall and the Horde. You cut your way through several groups of Searing Blade cultists, pilfering their corpses for anything of importance, eager to face off against the demonic beast. At last, you come to the central platform where the demon resides, and you charge into battle against the beast. The beast growls and strikes at you with his massive blade. Your fellow warriors charge into battle beside you and strike swiftly as you draw the demon's attention. He strikes at you physically and attacks with fire magic. But despite his best efforts, your party is able to end the beast's wretched life. You carve out the beast's heart and place the trophy into your bag, satisfied to have destroyed such a great evil and eager to show Niru that his pet has been dispatched. Continuing deeper into the chasm, you cut your way through many more groups of Searing Blade loyalists, eventually coming to what appears to be the final chamber of the chasm. Standing at the center of the final cavern, you see a warlock flanked by guards and surrounded by cultists. No doubt Jergosh the Invoker, a foe Niru himself deems powerful enough to be a threat. It will bring you great satisfaction to cut down this betrayer, freeing the Horde from the threat of his demonic dealings and disposing of another one of Niru's lackeys. You charge into battle against the warlock, and he strikes back with his staff. The fiend attempts to fight back with shadow and fire magics, but a well-placed bash from your shield and a few kicks from the Horde rogues who joined in your expedition interrupt his rituals. In hand-to-hand combat, the warlock is no match, and your band of warriors quickly cuts him down. With Jergosh defeated, one final passage remains, which leads to an overlook just above this final cavern. You charge forward, leading your party into battle against any cultists which remain in your path. On one of the cultist corpses, you find a leather-bound tomb inscribed Incantations from the Nether and bearing a multitude of other glowing demonic runes. You leave the evil instrument clasped and retain it so that it can be returned to Bragor Bloodfist for safekeeping. As you reach the overlook in this final chamber, you see another unique creature standing among the cultists. Hopefully the satyr Bazzalan, the last of the lieutenants Niru seemed to hold in high regard. Eager to land another blow against Niru's insidious plots, you attack the satyr and cut him down where he stands. At last, the leadership of the Searing Blade has been culled. No more will the cultists torment the Horde's citizens, and Niru has been deprived of his prospective allies. Just one final task remains. Bragor Bloodfist knew of an additional tome in the cult's possession. You cut down any remaining cultists, eventually finding a tome inscribed with Spells of Shadow. Certain the tome contains only evil, you toss it into your bag so it can be delivered to Bragor. Victorious, you lead your war party out of the chasm, cutting down any lingering foes, eager to report your victory to the war chief and the others who have been impacted by the evils residing here. Immediately outside Ragefire Chasm, you'll find Niru Fireblade. As a warrior of the Horde, the warlock asked you to slay the Felguard Taragaman and return with his heart in order to earn the favor of Thrall. But when disguised as one of his lieutenants, Niru revealed to you that the Felguard nearly acted as a scapegoat, a target used to entice Horde warriors into the chasm, where they'd be cut down by the Searing Blade forces. An opportunity to test the Searing Blade's mettle, and of no consequence to Niru should the Felguard be cut down. Though the Felguard's extermination may not agonize Nehru, you are still content to have disposed of one of Nehru's pawns and deliver the news that the Felguard can no longer be used to lure unsuspecting warriors to their doom. You approach Nehru's dwelling and present the heart you cut from the demon's chest. Ha, you've done it. Thrall will be so pleased. I will ensure this heart is taken care of properly. For now, though, you must celebrate your victory. I will inform Thrall of your success. Thank you for your aid, warrior. You would have liked to hear more disappointment in Nehru's tone. At least the beast can no longer be used as a lure. But how does Nehru intend to ensure the heart is taken care of properly? What plans does the warlock have for the demonic artifact? Regardless, you're eager to report your victory over the Searing Blade to the war chief. You sprint towards the Valley of Wisdom and report to Thrall and Gramash Hold. I'm glad you've returned, Nudnik. Some of those loyal to me brought word immediately that the caverns below Orgrimmar were in disarray now that their leaders had been slain. I even heard reports that Nehru was more than agitated. It seems we put a dent in his armor. I can't say I'm displeased, even with such a minor victory. I think our next step should be to have you placed close to Nehru. If he is as agitated as reports suggest, then we may accomplish two things. One, you may be able to gain some greater knowledge about the Council, or at least about the Burning Blade. And two, he may just begin to trust you enough that he asks you to start to aid him. He may very well look at you as someone who can fill the void now that some of the leadership is in turmoil. Return to the cleft and speak to him again, but do not be too overt. Aha! You are very pleased to hear of Nehru's anger. Any actions that agitate that vile betrayer are surely beneficial to the Horde. You gladly return to the Cleft of Shadow, once again disguised as Nehru's lieutenant, and see what other secrets you can pry from the naive warlock. What is it? Oh, you, warrior. My apologies. My anger rivals that of a rabid Kodo bull, but perhaps it is my own fault. In sending travelers into Ragefire Chasm, I should have seen the possibility that some harm would come from it. It seems both Bazzalan and Jergosh were taken unaware and slain by some of Thrall's do-gooders. A most inopportune time, but there is nothing that can be done about it now. You were one of my lieutenants. Prepare yourself, warrior. I will call upon you soon. My time spent on the Searing Blade may be all but wasted now, but that does not mean the Shadow Council's schemes must suffer elsewhere. I will do what I can to minimize the damage here in Ragefire Chasm. In the meantime, I will have my agents in the Barrens and Ashenvale begin work on our newest agenda. Return to me soon. The Barrens and Ashenvale? You were already aware of the cultists' activities in the northern Barrens, and have made strides to disrupt their efforts atop Dreadmist Peak. But it seems the Burning Blade cancer has spread even further north than previously believed. You rush back to the War Chief and share this new revelation. Ashenvale. I had not heard of the presence of the Council or the Burning Blade in Ashenvale. My spies will investigate Nudnik. You have done well. For now, rest, and keep yourself occupied with other tasks. I will call upon you again soon. Loktar Ogar. Loktar, the Searing Blade's presence below the Horde's capital has been snuffed out, and you have revealed more of the Shadow Council's schemes. A great victory, but more battles await. For now, you must get word back to the other members of the Horde that had their own requests of you whilst within Ragefire Chasm. Venturing to the Elder Rise of Thunderbluff, you seek out Magatha's guardsman Raharo and report on your battles against the Troggs. I am glad to see that you took Magatha's task seriously. Thank you, Nudnik. I'm sure the Troggs will have a harder time coming to the surface with their numbers so greatly reduced. Perhaps in the future we can take time to figure out where such creatures came from and what they really want. And what of Mar, Grim Totem? Were you able to find anything, Nudnik? Any clues as to why one of her clansmen had to die needlessly would be helpful. You tell Raharo of his fallen comrade and hand over the satchel you found within his grip. Excellent, Nudnik. Thank you. Magatha told me that if you were successful in finding her clansman, that you should be given this. Please, take it in thanks. With the torrent of Thunderbluff assisted, you begin the long journey to the Eastern Kingdoms and the Forsaken's capital of Undercity to report back to Bragor Bloodfist. Did you secure the books? They need to be kept out of the wrong hands. Good, warrior. You've done well. I'll keep these safe from prying eyes. The last thing we need is a strong Shadow Council rising up again. Check back with me in the future. There's always something that needs doing around here, apparently, and I need another able body. With the tomes secured and hidden from the Horde's enemies, your adventure into Ragefire Chasm comes to a close. The Shadow Council remains a threat to all life on Azeroth, but they've been dealt a massive blow this day, and the Horde's warriors stand ready to face them in the future. Hey folks, I appreciate you watching and presumably making it all the way to the end of this video. I am an altaholic and I've been through Ragefire Chasm 100 times, but I still love the place. It feels like one of the first big culminations of a pretty complex story in World of Warcraft, where you're really just finding your footing at this point. And if you race into the chasm right after getting one of the quests for the first time, you undoubtedly got destroyed by the mobs. What are the emblems around these creatures? How am I supposed to do this? Learning about groups, roles, tanking, healing, elites, bosses, mechanics, socializing, being forced to socialize and make a group for the first time in the game. In my case, learning how to type, learning what Ventrilo was. Ragefire Chasm is just an awesome first little foray into many things that are to come in the World of Warcraft. I suspect this video is going to get me to 100 subscribers, which is just awesome. I started recording some of these stories on my newest alt just to force myself into enjoying and becoming more immersed in the story. I find myself sometimes, if you're watching a video in the background, you're just turning stuff in, just grinding experience, but then you're missing out. There's cool stories in the game. I figured I'd try my luck throwing a couple of these videos up on YouTube, and I've gotten so much more attention and awesome comments. People have been so supportive than I really expected, so thanks again for watching. If there's any stories that you really like in the game, let me know about them, and I'm sure Nudnik can make his way there. Thanks.